we see, drawing up stories with their twisted minds. They're sketchy creations, one of a kind. They wander the city looking for inspiration, find shady corners where they engage in creation, sketching out chaos in every shade of gray.
I hope people are getting a kick out.
It's gritty, it won't fade away. Getting sketchy with every line they draw, creating masterpieces that leave you in awe. Their imagination wild, their talent outshines. Sketchy dudes making drawings, it's their defining sign.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Gettin Sketchy Live, the greatest live broadcast in all of YouTube. And as you can see, some of us had fun with some AI this week. I hope you enjoyed that that intro there. We had a lot of fun, or I had a lot of fun making those things. Now, it doesn't look exactly like me, of course. I think the AI did a better job capturing Ashley than it did me, but it was pretty funny. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
And the song actually was also AI. And I had to go through a bunch of different songs to get one that worked great for this. But it's a catchy tune. I find myself singing "Getting Sketchy." I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you want to keep it, if you want me to keep it, let me know in the comments, and we'll keep it. I think it goes pretty good with the show. Couple of sketchy dudes,
and it relates to things that we like to talk about.
Right?
That's what's cool about
Tried
it.
to add some stuff in
little
there.
Connections there to the real us.
Absolutely. Well, welcome to the show tonight, guys. This is episode 5.
This is my third drawing.
Yeah, so episode 5
right.
of season 14 of Gettin Sketchy here. I'd like to welcome all of you who are watching this live, and of course, welcome those of you who are watching this video sometime in the future. Of course, if you're watching it right this second right now, there is a chat box here on YouTube, and you can, of course, post comments and questions during tonight's broadcast. If you do have a question or comment that's directed specifically at Ashley or I, we ask that you use the super chat function, which helps us make intros like that. The super chat function, of course, does cost a little bit of money, but it gets your comment or question predominantly displayed in the chat box. And it's a good way to make sure that it doesn't get lost in the chat there. And of course, it helps out the program too, or helps out the channel. Guys, I hope everybody's doing great tonight. Ashley's going to be doing the drawing tonight. For those of you who don't know what the show's all about, well, we try to create a drawing for you inside of 45 minutes, and we use a variety of different materials each week. And this season, we somehow stumbled upon a theme. We're going to be drawing images inspired by music. And like I said, Ashley's going to be doing the drawing tonight. How are you doing tonight, Ashley?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for asking, Matt, and I hope you folks are doing well also. I'm anxious to talk about our reference and materials and why I picked it, what I like about it. So we'll do that in just a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're new to the YouTube channel, why not subscribe if you're not already a subscriber? Did you know that most of you who watch the videos, an overwhelming majority of you who watch the videos, are not subscribed to the channel?
What?
Yes, it's true.
I can't believe that.
It's true. So just click on the subscribe button. It's real easy to do. And click on the notification bell so you're notified when we go live and when I post new videos. I got a new video coming up. Probably going to post that tomorrow or Friday on the YouTube channel, so be looking for that. But we're getting ready to get sketchy here in just a minute. But before we do, if you're here because you want to draw and paint, maybe I'm sure you already draw and paint. But if you want to get better at that, then go check out the program and courses and classes and all the wonderful things we have over at thevirtualinstructor.com. The membership program is really what you need to check out. The membership program includes all of the drawing and painting courses that we offer, all of our weekly live broadcasts that we do for members where we do more complete finished pieces of artwork. And all of those recorded lessons are stored in our vault. So you can go into the vault if you're a member and you can watch those videos. And of course, there are weekly critiques as part of the Members Minute. And there's also a year-long curriculum for visual arts teachers All of that is included in the membership program. There's a link in the description below if you want to learn more. You can also scan the QR code on your screen in the upper right-hand corner, and that will also take you to the membership page so you can learn more about our program. Everyone starts out with a week-long trial for free, so you can see if the program's right for you. And then even beyond that week-long trial, we also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, and the program is ridiculously cheap. It is very cheap, but the product is not cheap. The price is cheap because I believe that everyone should have access to premium.
It's a good value.
Yeah,
that's the way you say it. It's not cheap. It's a good value.
It's beyond a good value. So anyway, yeah, check it out. Like Reba said, best deal on the internet for sure. Check that out. Also, if you want to get on our newsletter list, where I'll send you a bunch of free art lessons and also 3 course videos and ebooks right from the start, there's a link in the description below for that as well, so you can check those things out. But it's time to get a little sketchy here.
Yes.
Yeah. So are you ready, Ashley?
Yeah, I'm ready. We can switch over and start talking about that.
All right, we'll do that.
There we go. All right, so you can see our reference there on the left. It is inspired by Elton John's Rocket Man. And of course, Matt did Tiny Dancer a few shows ago, so our theme around music is turning into a theme around Elton John. But I love Rocket Man. It's my favorite Elton John song, and I picked out the reference. I did a little editing to it. It's a copyright-free image of a space shuttle launch. And the original image, the clouds were a little more spread out, and I just brought them in closer so that we can make a nice vertical composition out of this one. The verticals fit really well on the screen, so we can make our drawing a little bit bigger. So there was some clouds around, but that was really just about it for this one. I really didn't change anything in terms of the color or contrast. And I cropped it down. So that's the reference. Our image is a 3:4 ratio. So our paper today is 6 inches by 4.5 inches wide. So 6 inches tall, 4.5 inches wide. And I'm going to be working on marker paper because I'm going to be using markers. You can work on other paper. You can use another medium entirely and just draw along with me, even if you're not using the same materials. But let's go ahead and take a look at the materials that I'm going to use. So I do have a little pencil. We'll start with our pencil. And this is a 2B pencil, pretty average for art making. It's just a touch darker than a writing pencil, but very close to the same. And I do have a pen. After the pencil, we'll hit our marks. We'll hit our lines with a pen minimally. This is mostly a marker image, so the pen will kind of sit in the back seat a little bit. Speaking of markers, here we are. I have some colors picked out. These are some pretty old Prismacolors. So the labels have faded. They all look like Easter egg type colors, you know, very pale tints of colors, but that's not necessarily the case. A lot of them are light, but not all of them. These two, like this is a much darker blue than it appears. This marker may be from the 1970s, so it's got a really strong smell.
Or 60s.
Yeah, or these two right here are special. They're going to really like.
So are those alcohol-based markers, or?
I suppose
If they've got a smell, they might be permanent markers.
They are strong permanent markers. One of them is space blue. This color for our sky. We've got goldenrod. It's always an important color. And then we have a deco orange, yellow chartreuse, brick beige, which is a very, very pale color. That one is similar to its label. We also have a cloud blue, which is a very pale color. And then a relatively light purple, violet mist. So those are all Prismacolors. Oh, forgot one. And pale vermilion. We'll use the vermilion in our largest rocket fuel booster. I don't know what these parts are called.
Someone says looks like blending stumps. Oh no! That's the one in the middle. The ones on the side look like blending stumps.
Well, these two are...
No, on the rocket, Ashley.
Oh, on the rocket. Oh,
the rocket.
They do. We're going to draw blending stumps tonight, yeah. All right, speaking of blending, these two are for blending markers. One's made by Prismacolor, the other is Winsor Newton, and I'll probably be using the Winsor Newton. I was going to use a little bit of gouache at the very end, but I'm a little nervous about time because there's quite a bit of modeling to do in the clouds. And incidentally, you know, I know these are like fumes. You know, the clouds are not natural here, but they look like natural clouds. So we'll get to talk about drawing and painting clouds, even if it were not a rocket launch. I do have 2 Posca markers, so that's what I'm going to use instead of the gouache.
No.
I know.
He pulled a fast one on us, guys.
In the interest of time, and you can use white gouache, but I'm afraid I'm not going to have time. So I've busted out a Posca marker, and the red one, I might make one tiny little mark with the red, or it may not be a player. But in any case, in lieu of paint, I've got a Posca marker for some little white highlights, some white accents at the very, very end. So we're going to be using those first. Those are sort of our base markers. We're going to get a little crazy, and we're going to work with our grayscale Copic markers over top of them for shading and blending. So it's going to be kind of it's marker, but it's sort of a mixed process in terms of the way we're going to use our markers. And I use markers however I want to because I'm not a marker artist. So it's always an experiment anytime I'm using markers. So it should be fun, exciting, maybe unexpected.
Okay, Jen says if you smell the marker, you will become spacey.
Right. That's exactly right.
So we're going to be careful of that.
It is strong.
We're already pretty spacey.
I don't need any more of that.
I think it's funny that Buddy says anyone from LA or any other crazy city here. We think that's funny, Buddy.
Yeah,
because we know Buddy's from Germany.
Yeah.
You know,
crazy cities everywhere, right?
Yeah,
okay, and that's it. I did have an eraser, but you know, there's not a lot of drawing in this one. We have to spend a little bit of time on our shuttle, and then the edge of our cloud really, and then it's all marker after that, or a lot of marker after that. So that's it for the materials. I did make a little page of swatches and made some notes and circled some colors I want to use.
That's quite detailed there.
Yeah, I know. I know. So
that's more preparation than we're used to here. Actually,
it is. I don't use markers a lot, so I thought I need to pick out my colors ahead of time. So if they got circles around them, they go in the clouds. And these are my colors for the rocket, the shuttle. And this is my colors for the big booster in the middle. So.
Oh, I totally forgot to tell. I knew I was forgetting something. The reference photo. Mm-hmm. If you want the reference photo, you can get it. All you have to do is go to the YouTube channel. So you're probably watching this video not on the YouTube channel. To get to the YouTube channel, just click on the little icon of my face in the lower left-hand corner of your computer screen. That will take you to the YouTube channel. Then go to the post tab as Ashley's cheating.
I am.
And then click on the post tab in the top posts. You'll have that photo reference there with a link back to this video. So you won't lose yourself into YouTube world. All right. So are you ready for me to set the timer?
Yeah, let's go ahead and set the timer because I've started drawing.
45 minutes on the timer, and Ashley has started drawing a blending stump.
Okay. All right. So I'm actually starting with the shuttle, and then because it's the most forward part of our assembly here, and then the everything else is overlapped by it. So I thought I would start with what's closest to me, at least for not counting the clouds, and then we'll add the other parts around this one where they feel like they probably belong. I'll make a little adjustment to our angle here.
Yes, the space shuttle.
Lots of memories.
Yes, lots of memories. Because we grew up with the space shuttle, actually.
Space shuttle days.
When space exploration was such an exciting thing, and seemed so safe and happy.
Yeah.
Until the Krista McCullough thing happened.
Right, that changed everything.
Yeah, because
all of the kids were watching in all of the schools at the same time.
I remember that day.
She was a teacher.
I remember that entire day. It was so terrible. It really had an impact on me as a child.
Yeah, it was pretty sad stuff. All right, we'll go take it to the top. You know what? I think I've started drawing too high or too large. I'm going to back this off a little bit.
So did you say you're starting with the orange thing or the actual shuttle?
I'm drawing the shuttle right now.
So are you making comparisons with the edges of your picture plane?
Yes, that's what I was looking at was the space at the top, and I was running out of space.
The final frontier.
Yeah, and of course, this is an object. It's in the air, so if it doesn't land on our paper in exactly the right place, there's no context really around it.
Well, I have to interrupt you because Diana has given us a super chat.
All right. Thank you, Diana.
Yeah.
And Diana's comment is, "Hello, guys. Happy to see you." Well, happy to see you too, Diana. Got a question. Have you ever tried watercolor on acrylic and oil paper? No, that is not the media used tonight. I have not tried watercolor on acrylic and oil paper. I can see how it would work on oil paper. I'm not sure if there's a big difference between acrylic paper and oil paper. I've never heard of or used acrylic paper, but I do have oil paper, and oil paper is very similar to watercolor paper in the way that it feels. I don't see why there would be a problem using watercolor on oil paper. And I would imagine acrylic paper is probably very similar to mixed media paper, which would also be acceptable for using watercolor. The thing about watercolor is that you typically use a lot more water than you would with acrylics, obviously. And because of that, watercolor paper is really designed to be water absorbent. So that helps the paper not buckle. The oil paper, it's probably gonna be pretty similar to watercolor paper. But mixed media paper is what I really think of with acrylic paper, and it's going to probably buckle a little bit, even though it's mixed media paper. So I'm not sure why you would want to deviate from watercolor paper, though, because there's so many options. You have
good options.
You have cold press, which is what most people use for watercolor painting. Cold press paper has a texture associated with it, and it comes in different weights. 90 pounds, 140 pound, 300 pound. And 140 pound is really the minimum that you want to use. You really don't want to go to 90 pounds with watercolor paper. And there's also hot press watercolor paper, which is smooth. So you have a coarse option and you have a smooth option. And then there's rough watercolor paper, which is really heavy. You can think of rough paper as being a very, very heavy cold press paper. I'm sure there's a reason why you would want to do that, but if you're going to use watercolor paper, I wouldn't deviate from using watercolor paper, me personally. There's even black watercolor paper, which is really suited for gouache. Let's be honest, we're not going to be creating too many pure watercolor paintings on black watercolor paper. You really need to use some gouache there.
Okay, so we've got most of our shuttle bumped in now. And I think it's going to be okay. I think once we shade it, it's going to look okay. Let's go ahead and move on to our stumps.
That's a great start there with the drawing. Looks like you just basically concentrated on the contour lines, and those other shapes should be pretty easy to get in place.
I think so.
Buddy says, I've used acrylic paper for watercolor painting once because I didn't know better back then. Nothing I would try again. So there's some good advice from someone who's experienced with the acrylic paper and watercolor combination.
Oh, I feel like I'm taking too long. And I think it's going to be a long, long time till I finish this drawing. I think it's going to be a long, long time.
Till touchdown brings me around again. I don't even know the next line. I've heard that song like a bajillion times.
Oh, yeah.
Did you used to listen to Rock 92?
Yes.
They would play it like 5 times a day.
Yeah. Might still play it a lot. I don't know. I don't listen to that station as much.
Yeah, I don't really listen to that station anymore. Mostly listen to satellite radio podcasts or what is it?
My kids are so sick of riding in the car with me, I think, listening to podcasts all the time.
Oh, no, we do listen to Rock 92 a lot because they have the Two Guys Named Chris show.
They still have that show?
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Mark's thinking of Major Tom. I prefer Major Tom.
Well, you know,
over Rocket Man.
I feel like this image was inspired by both. My daughter and I talked about it. You know, like it works for both.
Someone took a guess that this could be the final countdown.
Oh my
Another
gosh.
good one.
good one.
Space Odyssey, Oddity, another good one.
Could be any of those. Okay, we've almost got our... Just need a little piece of that opening. And then we'll, guess I'll go ahead with the pencil anyway. We'll go ahead and find a few details and then work on our clouds. Got the black nose cone. There we go. All right, that's good. Let's go ahead and put some clouds in here. And I think I'll tell you what, we'll start with the heat. So, Matt, I think I've talked about it on the show before. One of my favorite books is The Right Stuff by Tom Wolfe.
Yeah, I've seen the movie.
Oh, I have not seen the movie.
Oh, the movie's good.
So, yeah, I might watch that this summer. I've got that to look forward to. But I love the book, and it's so great, and it really was inspiring. And I love learning through the book, more about the rocket planes that the first astronauts flew before they were drafted into the space program. And those rocket planes, Chuck Yeager and guys like that. Neil Armstrong flew the fastest one. He flew the X-10. And so they were true rocket men because, in a way, they didn't really like the idea of capsules and rockets that you ride in. They wanted to be pilots and fly them. And so I think the rocket planes they flew, though that program was eliminated as far as I know, they were just a little bit wilder and cooler than rockets with capsules. So.
Very good. Several questions. First one is, where'd you get the reference image? NASA or somewhere else?
It came from Pixabay. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It tells you who the owner of the image is, but I don't remember.
I don't think it's NASA.
Yeah.
Buddy says, Ashley, when drawing the contour lines, do you think of an overall shape or of several single rockets? I think what she's asking is, do you think of a single shape or do you think of several smaller shapes? Maybe?
I was looking at these as mostly like, I was thinking of them as kind of like just rectangles and triangles, the different parts that go on here. The wings were a little different and, just kind of think about and compare some of these contours just as angled lines. But generally, I'm just thinking about these vertical portions as being like rectangles with triangles stuck on top. I know they're cones, but they're not cones yet because we haven't rendered them.
And we got a question from Bear in the Garden. Why has Ashley chosen to use a dark pencil rather than an H pencil? Come on, Ashley.
I'm not pressing down hard. I'm pressing down. Yeah, I use H's sometimes, but I don't want to put a mark or groove in the paper, which can happen sometimes if you push down hard with a hard pencil.
Yeah, an H pencil is harder, so it does have the risk of putting grooves on the surface of the paper.
Yeah, so that's it for me.
Buddy says she likes my trumpet sound. It's fantastic and it's realistic. Well, thanks, buddy. I played the mouth trumpet in the band in high school.
Yeah, a lot of practice.
That's not
there.
True. I played the drums. They didn't want me playing the mouth trumpet.
There's a lot of layers in these clouds, billowing layers, and we'll include some of them, as many as we get to. Okay, so gracious, look at this kneaded eraser, Matt.
That you have gone into my drawer and got my kneaded eraser.
You've got all your erasers laid out on a table.
I hid that. I hid the eraser.
And I looked around, I was like, there's the kneaded eraser.
You know why I hid the eraser?
It's huge.
Because Ashley stole my electric eraser.
That's why Matt had a new one.
And right.
I
had to order another one. And then this week he comes back and says, hey, I took your electric eraser.
Brought your eraser back.
I brought it back.
Yeah.
Charles says, hey, Matt, do you think someone can teach themselves the drums? You know, Charles, this might be controversial, but I don't think anybody teaches themselves anything. I think people learn through practice,
And by
and they
watching.
also learn by watching other people and picking up on things here and there. So you might not have a formal instructor, but nobody just learns by just going out and trying to do stuff on their own. You have to observe, you have to study, you have to practice. And but yes, I think you can learn to play the drums without formal instruction. However, I will say that I started with formal instruction, and I went to my first drum lesson. I remember I had been playing the drums for a couple of months, and I thought I was pretty good. And I went into my first lesson with the drum instructor, and he said, "Why don't you play some stuff?" And I played a little bit, and then he said, "Okay, let me slide over and show you a few things of what's possible." And he sat down and made me look completely and totally silly. And then at that moment, I knew I could learn from this person, and I needed to pay attention to what he taught me. And he went right into teaching me how to read drum music. And that has been invaluable to me, not only the lessons that followed, but learning how to read music and how it applies to the drums has helped me teach other people how to play the drums. I used to give private drum lessons when I was in high school. And so, yeah, you can learn on your own without an instructor, but an instructor is an accelerant because they know more than you, and you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really big thing. And I see Edie saying, no one is self-taught. We all learn from someone, whether through books or some other way. Yeah, you are learning from someone through observation. There's no way. I love it when people say that I've taught myself how to draw or whatever. You have gone the path of most resistance to learn how to draw, because we've all had instructors. I took private art lessons when I was in middle school all the way through high school. And then I went to college for art. You having an instructor is so invaluable. I know I went off on a different tangent, but yeah, sure, you can learn to do things on your own, but having an instructor is definitely helpful. Whether it's online instruction or just watching and learning from YouTube videos or whatever, you're still learning from someone else.
All right, very good.
That was quite a tangent I went on.
Okay, so I just want to point out that the lines I'm making are like thin. So this is how thick I can make a line with this pen, but I'm just barely grazing the paper. So it's very light touch for a lot of these lines. So you don't have to press down hard, and I like to go kind of fast when I'm inking over contours and using a lot of broken lines. The ink is going to be pretty minimal in here. It's going to be most apparent around and in the shuttle, and everywhere else in the clouds, quite a bit less so. A lot of broken line in here. Don't want to get too fussy. You know, when I drew the clouds edges, I tried to do it a little bit like a blind contour drawing, so not all the parts landed exactly where they are supposed to, but I feel like I captured the character of the contours by looking at my reference most of the time and just following the edge of the cloud with my eyes in the reference while my hand responded to that. So if you've not made blind contour drawings before, you should, just for practice and connection between your eyes and your hands. But there are times when you might want to draw in an actual artwork without looking at the artwork. And this is one of those times where the character of the line is more important than the placement in terms of these billowing clouds. Okay, maybe put just a couple more marks on the inside of a few clouds. And then we've got to jump to marker. We don't have time to waste. Okay. Now, you may notice that I'm not putting any dark lines around where the flames go. That's how we're going to make them feel extra light, extra bright, extra hot. So we want to lighten up that pencil as much as we can. You know what? Missed a spot. Okay. I don't want to press too hard. The ink should dry fast, but I don't want to get any smudges. All right, it is go time. And of course, our blue is appropriately named Space Blue. So that we just got lucky there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and hit our background first. This is a real stinky marker, Matt, so you may start to smell it.
All right,
and then we'll jump and we'll slow down and jump into our...
You'll smell it first. I'm a good 8 feet away from you.
Oh, man, I'm already smelling it.
I smell it already, too. My gosh.
It is something else.
It is really strong. Really strong.
Woo.
And really dark, too.
Woo.
Now, are you...
It's pretty dark.
Are you on marker paper?
Yes.
The slick surface?
Yeah, it's a marker paper.
Oh, that looks heavier.
It's kind of a heavyweight paper. I'll let you check it out.
Yeah, marker paper I've run into has all been kind of thin.
No, this is kind of heavy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Of course, it's a small drawing, and I'm using a pretty big marker. But it's got a point, so we can still get in there. There we go. Nice little wiggly edge. It's a good color for our sky. Matches pretty well. And you know, when you're working with markers, when I'm working with markers, you know, I have a very limited group of markers, so I'm always looking for the colors that I think is close, but they usually don't match exactly. But this one's a pretty good.
Mark said the rocket isn't the only thing about to take a trip.
Ha 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 ha. Hey,
I hope not.
we may just have to put our pencils down and giggle for a few
I'll
minutes.
be pushing all the wrong buttons for sure.
All right. Well, we got that blocked in, and of course we can watch it lighten now. As it dries, it'll lighten. That's one thing about markers. They make our artwork darker, and then they get lighter all on their own. So let's go ahead and switch to our pale vermilion. And I'll use the broadside and put our base color down. And that is so bright. And in our image, this color is very dark and dull. So we're working over it with our gray markers to make both of those things happen. Control our value and our intensity with the grays. All right. Unfortunately, I'm going to look at the brand of this marker paper because it's bleeding places it doesn't belong.
Yeah,
That's not going to be a problem.
That is a different. That is.
Yeah.
It's behaving differently than marker.
It is
paper.
marker paper, and I didn't bring the pad, but we're going to put pocket marker over that spot anyway.
I'm curious to know the brand of the marker paper as well.
I feel like it's Strathmore.
Ugh.
It feels like it's got one of those brown Strathmore covers.
If that's Strathmore, maybe stick with Canson. We'll see how the markers in the background dissolve.
Let's see how they do.
PJ Hall has given us a super
All right,
chat.
we got a base color there. All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you there, PJ. There's no comment to go along with that or question, so feel free to add one.
We're back
We
to
really
space blue.
appreciate it, though, PJ.
Yeah. Yeah, if you ask a question, we'll...
All right, so we've got
We'll get
little
you
bit
in.
of a peachy color on the
Yeah, that is our
spaceships.
brick beige, which is very pale.
And that will, that's going to do a lot to create that light,
Yeah.
the warm
warming
light
it up
from
a little
underneath.
bit. All right, now we're going to switch to one of our blendable markers. Make sure I got the right one here. And go ahead and start working on darkening parts of our fuel cell.
Ashley, I am telling you, I am feeling a little weird.
You can smell it?
I mean, I'm feeling a little lightheaded. I am not kidding.
I am not surprised. They are strong markers. I don't let my kids use them. Too strong.
I know we've talked about it before, but I was doing some thumbnail paintings for a cover of a magazine back when I was teaching high school on a work day.
Uh-huh.
And I had been working in the room with the windows closed in room 109. I mean, that's a big room.
Yeah.
And I was using oil paints and I was using turpentine.
Oh, yeah.
And I had been sitting there for several hours working on these thumbnails, and a parent and a student came to the door, and I got up to go open the door for them, and I almost fell down.
Oh, wow.
I could not walk straight.
You hadn't realized
I hadn't
how
realized.
much you'd been breathing in
Oh
there.
my gosh, it was terrible.
Yeah.
I kind of feel a little bit like that now.
All right, we're switching to a darker gray now.
Well, you know, those applications are behaving as they should. It's only the background where the markers feel splotchy.
Where the blue is.
maybe
I'm hoping it'll still...
Maybe that's that blue marker.
It could be.
You know, you might just go and fill in all of it solid.
The background?
Yeah, at the end. maybe.
I may just have to hit it a second time.
Yeah, and we'll have to just hold our breath.
Which is, it's fine. We can do that.
Oh gosh.
Switching back to our 2. So these Copic markers, they're numbered by value. Using the 2 and the 4 mostly right now. And our shuttle.
And what great control it gives you too over creating those values on top of the color. It's really nice.
Yeah, I like that quality. That's cool. This one is almost entirely in shadow, so we'll go ahead and give it all a number 2 for starters. Except one little edge. Totally skip this one over here. We'll go back and put some of that coral color or brick color over it. I don't think it matter. And switching back to the 4.
Okay, Buddy asked, when shading with grays, would you recommend to use cool grays for cooler colors and warm grays for warm colors?
Maybe so. I only have neutral grays. I did have some warm and cool grays in Prismacolor, but I'm not using those. I'm sticking with the Copics because of the way we're going to be able to blend them a little bit later. So maybe so.
Are your eyes burning a little bit?
No?
Okay.
I'm doing all right over here.
Okay. Well,
Hey, hanging in.
all right. Just making sure because my eyes are burning a little bit. Jan says giggling started.
It has some, yeah, all right.
Yeah. Little. Whew. Whew. I know those aren't the Copics that I'm smelling.
No, they don't really have
No.
a smell. They're not bad at all. Any dark.
Yeah, that drawing looks so fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fun subject. It's kind of cartoonish.
Yeah.
It's my outline.
Mark says, do we need to call the fire department? No, not the fire department, but maybe a ambulance.
We're gonna roll around on the floor in here.
Bear in the Garden says, seriously, open a window, turn on an air purifier. We have a humidifier going. I do have an air purifier here, and it is also running.
Yeah.
So,
That'll help.
yeah.
Well, it'll air out.
I could open a door, though, but it is so hot and humid. We're okay. Surely one blue marker is not going to be our demise.
Yeah, I know. The lid was only off for like 5 minutes. All right,
But
this
boy,
more
is
of a
it strong. I mean, it was strong.
Well, I've got to take off the lid of the goldenrod here in a few minutes.
Oh my gosh, you got another one of those?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness gracious.
All right. So a lot of orange. Think about this picture's a lot of orange and blue in
You're
it.
making incredible time, too. You're
Good.
Yeah, you've
Oh,
got
yes.
17 more minutes
Well,
left.
I want to do a lot of blending and messing around in the clouds and revisit all this after it dries. So we're doing well. Markers, they cover a lot of space fast, which is what's nice. But we are working in layers. Layers are slow.
Yeah, really the only marker applications that seem odd are the blue.
Yeah, that's true. Must be that crazy marker. Let's see. I'm not sure. I think we're going to use cloud blue, also appropriately named for what we're doing today, but it's really, you'll notice it's more of a blue violet. And it will lighten some. All right, all the surface is at least covered that will be covered. And in the clouds, let's see, I think we're gonna, what do we have here? The N2, that's the lighter one that I've been using. So I think I'll go ahead and use it a little bit and we'll work our way down the value scale some.
Brenda says, Ashley, what are you going to use to add the flag? I guess you're going to just use the markers, all right?
I do have a little red Posca marker. So we may put our, use black for the little blue square and then a little red marks next to it. That might work for us.
Edie says, is it possible to get even toning with the markers without saturating the paper? It is.
Usually.
Yeah. Usually by putting a light application quickly, the applications blend together and kind of spread out in a controlled fashion. That's why we're talking about how the blue seems weird.
Yeah, it's like parts of it aren't drying.
Right.
It all should all be like these lighter spots up there. So it's okay. It's going to be part of our artwork, and I think we'll just have to go over it again.
Yeah, the solid blue, if you made it solid, is not that far off from the reference photo.
So we'll just hit it again. These grays are, lighter than where we intend to go. We're just finding shapes in here with our lighter gray right now. And again, I'm looking at the reference quite a bit while I'm doing this. So trying to get so that I'll get the types of shapes in, even if they're not the same shapes or as many or exactly where they belong. We're looking for like character in the mark making. I would say more than accuracy, which is what we do here on Gettin Sketchy. A lot of character in our drawings, not always accurate as we could take them with more time, but that's not what sketching's about. It's about capturing some sort of quality you're interested in your subject. It's like a type of a study. So after we finish, which we almost are, with the number 2 or N2 Copic marker. We'll switch to a 4. And you don't need a blending marker. Your clouds can stay a little bit more graphic with harder edges between your values and colors. But with the blending marker, we should be able to get a little bit softer look into our clouds once we have enough, enough colors on there to work with. All right, before we go over here into our little other orange pocket, it's time for some goldenrod.
Uh-oh.
Oh no. And there's not much in here. Not much to do with the goldenrod, I should say. But there's some pretty strong orange in here. And we'll hit with our grays. So let me go ahead and start to do that. Just put an orange shape in there. It's a little bit more intense. Maybe crawl up the side a little bit, and that's enough. Put the cap back on. All right. Again with the N2. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a 4. Oh, there it is. We'll go ahead and start the process. This is more like working with watercolor. So we're revisiting areas and building up layers.
Buddy asks, clouds are always challenging for me. Would you recommend starting with a base layer and work from light to dark with any medium?
Well, not if it's not transparent medium, I don't think.
Well, yeah, you can.
That?
You can go either way. I mean, it depends on. Yeah, if you're using watercolor, you're going to avoid the shapes of the clouds when you paint the sky, and then you're going to go back in working light to dark. But with pastels, you could, draw the entire sky and then add the pastels applications over the top. And you could start with light and then go dark, or you could start with dark and then go light. So there's not really a rule as to what order you should do it in, but it is media dependent. So if you're working with watercolor or like Ashley's working with the markers, it does make sense to start light and go dark. But with pastels or acrylics or oils, you could really start with any value that you want or any color that you want and then work from there. In fact, if you're working with oils, you'd probably start on the darker end of things and then go lighter. Same for acrylics.
All right, starting to get some bolder values into our clouds now.
Samuel says, hi, Matt. I think I have the same markers that Ashley is using. How do you refill them? I would like to try them out again. Are you talking about the Copics, or are you talking about the ones that smell terrible?
Copics, and then we've got our Prismacolor markers.
The Prismacolor markers are not
ones.
refillable, to my knowledge. You just have to buy another marker.
I don't even know what these are.
Those are death markers.
Yeah. Chart pack marker. It says AP non-toxic. Well, I don't believe that.
Well, what was non-toxic in the 60s and 70s is clearly toxic now.
Yeah, that's right. It was a different standard, wasn't it? All right. A lot of bumps, humps and bumps. I love these squishy brush tips. They're good for this kind of thing because the marks are a little bit harder to control, and that contributes to the texture, I think.
To my knowledge, the Copic markers also have to be repurchased. I do not think you can refill
I don't
the
think
markers.
they're refillable. And I know it'd be nice if they did sell cartridges to refill them, since they're pretty expensive. And this area is lightened up a little bit. So
Charles says tonight is more getting loopy than getting sketchy. Are we acting that loopy?
No.
I mean, I do feel a little lightheaded, but I do feel like I have my faculties about me still. Mary Elizabeth says Copics are refillable.
Oh, I guess you can slide the filament out from the inside and a new one in, maybe. That's cool. I'm glad to know that. I hope these that I have are refillable, because I've used them quite a bit since I got them, They're holding up really well. All right. Got to get darker and more purple down here. I'm going to go ahead and break out Violet Mist now. And, which is just a regular marker, blending marker. Go ahead and put a little bit more purple down there. And I think we'll use our Deco Orange color. That's one of our orange type colors. I'm actually going to hit little bits of the highlights in the purple cloud just to get some warmth down there. Bring them together some. There we go. And then it's just darker, darker, darker. All right, let's see. Let's go back up here and put a few darker marks in. And then we'll just continue to bounce back and forth between the clouds and the shuttle till our time has elapsed.
People are commenting that they think the clouds are looking really good.
Good, good. Yeah. Of course, we're still going to use our blender over that.
Mary Elizabeth points out that it looks more like ink that you put in the marker for the Copic refills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's good. It seems I did look it up. They do sell it. It does seem strange though.
Well, I'll tell you what, the ink's coming out of some of my Copic markers, unfortunately.
It's coming out onto the paper.
Yeah. It's coming out under the lid.
Yeah, Mary Elizabeth heard the dog barking in the background. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bonus.
Yeah. There are dogs that bark. Try to keep them quiet. Karen says, I was at Cheap Joe's in Boone, and they still have a lot of the chart pack markers, 75% off.
Oh,
they also have a lot of Copics at 75% off.
That's worth it. That might be worth a drive.
Light Krieger of God would like to know, what paper are you using for this piece?
So I'm using a marker paper, and I told Matt I didn't bring the pad. I wished I had. I wish I had.
You didn't bring the pad? Oh,
Not the pad.
It's been killing me.
Yeah, and I think it's made by Strathmore. I tell you what, I will look and share that with you, Matt, and everybody else next week. Because I wish I should have brought the pad. I'm not certain of the brand. Let's see how. Oh, we got 4 minutes left. Oh, geez. I definitely.
There is Strathmore marker paper with a brown cover.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a brown cover.
But it says the paper is 50 pounds. That's pretty thin.
No, this is heavier.
It's 50-pound marker paper.
Yeah, this is definitely heavier. I'm gonna make it. Blending takes a few minutes, but we'll do what we can. Maybe a couple more touches over here. And I really want to go over the background again. I think I need to.
Well, Orion Nebula is asking, are you planning to do anything with the fire from the engines?
Yes.
And a couple of people have asked about that too.
Yes, I'm saving that. I like to do things at the very end.
Buddy asked, would the use of watercolor paper allow more blending? I don't think so. I think the watercolor paper would actually create, maybe if you were working on hot press paper, some more bleeding.
The thing about blending with a marker, it doesn't really blend. What you do is you just go over the edge of a darker color and it starts to lighten that edge. It's almost like it bleaches it away. And that's how it appears to be blended. So it's kind of a neat little trick. It's like weakened bleach. inside of these things. That's what it seems like to me. You just keep going back and forth on an edge until you see it start lightening. You can kind of watch it fade right before your eyes and start to match whatever layer was underneath. We got to really soften these bad boys down
Now,
here.
you can see how vigorous Ashley's getting, and it's shaking the entire
Do you hear the squeaking?
5 foot wide table.
I would. I can understand why I didn't bring the gouache. You know, it seemed like I was making good time, and I am, but we're running out of time. Just trying to make these edges a little bit softer than what we have in our shuttle.
All right. Marker paper, got it. Will markers go well with other types of paper like Bristol board or regular paper with 230 pound GSM or 230 GSM? I put the pound in there. Bristol paper will work with markers, but I'm telling you, the best paper I have ever worked on with markers is Canson marker paper.
Well, I'm going to get
got a purple cover.
Yeah.
Canson marker paper.
And what I'm used to seeing in my classroom that my students bring in is a thinner paper than this. I'll let you feel this stuff. See what you think. All right.
God, the squeaking. Jeez.
Horrible smells and squeaking. That's what tonight's about.
I have a marker
to make
blender
Matt
over
go
there
crazy.
that won't squeak.
All right. I don't even know if you can tell if anything happened, but I can see all the changes in here, at least up close. All right. We got 1 minute left. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. All right. Darker patches down there. Start letting those dry up a little bit.
Lisa Henning adds, Hansen marker paper is the bomb.
Okay, we have to move on. The clouds have to be done. So I'm just putting a little yellow edge on our flames. There's no black line around them. There we go. That's all they're going to get. And now we have to use, in 7 seconds, our white marker. And I'm going to need more than 7 seconds. And probably need, oh my gosh, this thing is practically dripping.
Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Like those strong highlights.
Little highlights back in. There we go. I'm actually going to put a little one on here. You know, it doesn't match the reference. I don't care. I don't care. I think it looks good. A little piece right here. That doesn't match the reference. I don't care. And this thing is drippy. It's going to take it a while for these little white marks to dry.
The kids would say that drippy is cool.
That's right. Got that drip. And drip it in. That's how we make our putts on the greens. We drip them in. That's cool too. All right, so I'm not making a solid white outline around the edges of our clouds, but I am putting some white marks on here. It's slightly translucent. A little bit more down here. There we go. Okay, I know I'm missing some things on our shuttle. And so, how much time do we have? It's 7:30 now.
Time's up.
Oh gosh. We're just going to make a few of these lines thick, and that's where we'll have to stop. We do have
Well, I went over quite a bit last week.
last week.
Yeah, last week I went over quite a bit.
Yeah, you got a plan, and you
Yeah,
want to
that-
see it come to completion.
Changing that line quality there by having some variety is making a huge difference.
Oh yeah, and it's actually better reflects the paint job or the livery of our shuttle. All right. Just put a few series of dots down here. And then our tiny little flag.
Jan says, great drawing, Ashley. A rocket blast from the past.
Ah, yeah. Thank you.
Mary Elizabeth says, really looks good.
Gosh, I'm scared of that.
Yeah,
Posca.
I'd be scared of that red Posca.
Yeah, we're going to use a vermilion.
Need a fine tip there.
Darn it. Sorry, the fine tip is destroyed. Know who to blame. They live in my house. All right, that'll be our American flag right there. It's got
It reads like that.
Yeah, it
reads
does.
as an American
a little
flag.
orange dot next to a black dot. Right, that's all I need. So, all right, is there anything missing, Matt? Anything that looks like it needs a white speck?
No, the tape just needs to be removed.
All right,
That's
all right, let's do it. Let's pull the tape off. That was fun. I enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. I can hear it.
Rocket Man.
Burning out his fuse up there alone.
Yeah.
All
nice
right,
sharp edges
all
there.
right. Just two more pieces and we'll be free. I just love those big, fat, fresh Posca marks on there, I mean, same as the gouache, but just nice and fresh, laying right on top of everything.
Oh, Mary Elizabeth says more blue.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what you forgot.
Forgot the
Break it
blue.
out. Break it out.
I've already pulled the.
Oh my god.
I've already pulled the tape off.
Oh gosh.
Well, we're doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Just early in the top half.
I think it's that marker.
I do too. I think it's the marker because the Prismacolors acted a little differently. I'm trying to go fast. So.
That looks so much better though.
All right. We'll let that even out.
Yeah, that looks
But
way
it's-
better.
Even if it doesn't even out, it's better than it was. So, all right, cool. All right, this one's all
good.
this one's all done. There's places where I think we could have gotten just a little bit darker, if there was time for it, but maybe like right there. All right, now it's done. I can't quit touching it.
Oh god.
We're gonna have to go stand outside for a minute.
No kidding. All
Can you
right.
imagine working with markers like that, like exclusively
All day long
Yes.
in like a studio.
Right, in a
Back in the
studio.
newspaper days,
I know.
artists would work in studio. I mean, in like a big studio with a line of drafting
Right.
tables.
Artists weren't crazy. They went crazy.
I know this because I went on a trip to visit the newspaper.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
they had all the guys in there, and
Yeah.
guys and girls, drawing on drafting tables. They were drawing like refrigerators
Yeah.
and fruit and
Ads.
stuff, and ads for, it was awesome.
That is awesome.
Oh, goodness gracious. That
Those
blue
were the
marker,
days.
blue marker. This drawing should be called blue marker. Just call it blue marker because that is what it's been about tonight. My gosh, that pen reeks.
You see it.
I wish you guys had Wonka's smell-o-vision on this
I know.
because my goodness, you guys would all be passing out right now like I am on the verge of.
Yeah, it's something else.
All right.
Well, thanks for suffering through it with me.
It is finito.
All right, finished. I'm gonna done.
Very good.
All right,
Very
thank
nice
you,
job.
thank you. So that was my third drawing, and Matt will come up with something that is fun for you guys to watch and learn from next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mark's got any brain cells left.
Mark said they were probably smoking as well. They probably were.
That's right.
Yeah.
He had a cigarette in one hand, and then one of these markers in the other.
I think after a while you don't smell it, but my God, you remember that store in the mall? Was it called Hungate's? What was that store in that little art store in the mall?
It was
remember?
like arts and crafts with models and stuff.
No. This, yeah, it had a few models, but it definitely leaned on the side of art supplies.
Yeah.
It was on the lower part of the old part of the mall.
Near Sears.
Yeah, and every time it smells like what it smelled like going into that store.
I think it's the model glue. You know, all those models they put together. That glue's strong. I bet that's what it was.
Jan says, thank you for the awesome art, banter, and substance abuse tonight.
Good one. Good one. We should give you a super chat for that.
Oh, that is funny. All right, let's switch over here, and I'm going to try to push the right button. Got to really concentrate on this one. All right, guys, I am still here. You are still seeing me. But, whew. I mean, are you?
No, Matt, when you
Are
said,
you feeling lightheaded over
let me
there?
just drop down. When Matt said,
Is your shirt really that orange?
when you said switch over, I just stared into space, not realizing the lights were. I totally disappeared.
What you couldn't see, maybe you heard, I was snapping at Ashley. I was going, turn the light
I was gone.
Turn the lights
I was
up.
somewhere else. Rocket Man. You know, I thought about just drawing a portrait of Kim Jong-un tonight, but we settled on Space Shuttle instead.
what kind of pronunciation was that? Do that again. That was,
Kim Jong-un?
yeah, you did a good job with
Yeah,
that.
thanks. Rocket Man.
I don't know why he would be called a Rocket Man, though. Why?
That's the nickname that our president gave him because he's always shooting off rockets and showing off his
Oh,
rockets.
okay, I got you. He's a Rocket Man.
Rocket Man. It's
Rocket Man.
too much. So,
All right. Yeah, I definitely. That's good advice, Orion Nebula, because I'm going to be inhaling charcoal for the next hour, and on just a little bit of charcoal on top of my alcohol marker. Guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's Getting Sketchy episode. Next week will be episode 6 of the season 14, and I'll be doing the drawing. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing yet. I'll make it work with our theme, with the song titles. And I had no idea what medium I'm going to use. I really want to do pastels. That's what's calling me. So we'll see. That could change dramatically. It won't be markers since Ashley did markers this week. Ashley, do you have anything else before we start switching over for the live show?
No, I hope you guys have a great week and work on some artwork of your own, and then join us next week and we'll work together again.
Sounds good. Lots of people telling us to go outside. I'm gonna have to watch this episode
I'm going to.
later, and I just feel a little lightheaded and a little weird. That's all. I don't. It's not like we're over here huffing markers or anything.
Not on purpose.
But my gosh, it really
Mark
is
put
strong.
Ashley speaks fluent Korean after only using markers.
It's only the blue marker, really. I didn't smell the goldenrod, but the blue marker, very strong. All right, guys, we'll see you right here next week. Same time, same place, same channel. With that, we're going to go ahead and sign out for this evening. Good night, everybody.